lumbrokinase, fibrin, plasma, three very important biochemicals that have been scientifically proven to be very, very useful in the diagnosis and treatment of strokes, angina pains, and venous issues such as recalcitrant ulcers. Learn about these compounds, where they are found, their application, and how they may benefit you and your loved ones. Hi, and welcome back to Richard Harris's Herbal Tutorials, the tutorials that inform and educate about the practical and common sense usage of herbs and other natural substances. Here on this channel, I discuss the proper way to use natural things medicinally, how to identify them, their dosages, why you use them, when to use them, and when not to use them. This channel is not about exaggeration. There's no hype, no outlandish claims are being made. I just provide honest, relevant, and interesting information. Your health means a lot to me, and whenever these videos are made, they're always done with your best interest in mind. I'm Richard Harris, and in this video, number 5, part 1, I'll be discussing another interesting natural substance, the earthworm, scientifically known as Lumbricus rubella, or other related species. This is another somewhat lengthy video. It is more detailed because some explanations are necessary for you to grasp concept behind the usage of the earthworm and similar drugs. Therefore, it's done in 2 parts. Part 2 follows later. There's a lot to be discussed in this video, so buckle up, put on your thinking cap, fasten your seatbelt, follow me, and be prepared to learn as we journey on through another herbal and natural substances extravaganza. A word of caution: please understand the information given is strictly for educational purposes. If you need medical advice and or treatment, please consult your healthcare provider. Also, if you're enjoying this video, if you're learning useful information, and you're new to this channel, why not take the time to subscribe, activate the notification bell, like, and share. Your input is very much appreciated. Place your comments and questions in the comment section, and whenever possible, they will be responded to. Everyone knows the earthworm. They are the gardener's best friend and are found all over the world. They need no introduction. It's even part of the cuisine in many countries. Yes, it's food also. However, while it's internationally known, its uses as a medicinal agent is practically non-existent in the Caribbean and even in the rest of the Western world. In these areas, the earthworm is only thought of as being useful as a bait for catching fish, for encouraging plant growth, and for the production of compost. However, in Oriental, Middle Eastern, and African culture, it has been an integral part of the pharmacological and culinary system for thousands of years. The species of earthworm discussed in this video are the European species and are thus not native to the Caribbean, but are now quite common in the region as an introduced species brought by European settlers. In this video, the discussion will be centered around ancient wisdom and modern science in order to demonstrate the vast potential of our slimy friends. The earthworm belonged to a class of substances in traditional Chinese medicine known as drugs that expel wind and stop spasms. Please note, I've just described the earthworm as a drug because this is what it is, since it is being used medicinally. I shall be using this term very often in my future podcasts for simplicity's sake. You all would have noticed my videos are about all types of natural substances and are not confined to botanicals. This makes it easy for me to move back and forth between the herbs and any non-herbal natural material without causing confusion. So, from henceforth, both herbs and all other natural substances discussed would be referred to as drugs. Now we've gotten that out the way, let's move to the meat of this issue. In traditional Chinese medicine, the earthworm is a drug whose function is to expel wind and to stop spasms. Before we continue, let me define what is wind and what are its characteristics. Wind is one of several environmental factors, namely wind, cold, heat, just to name a few. You would have noticed that in the past, whenever I discussed a drug, I always speak of them relative to their relationship with any of the environmental factors. So you would have heard me speak of drugs that cool heat, drugs that expel cold, drugs that dry dampness, etc. Environmental factors are part of nature, and we can discern them when we go about our daily living. For example, we know it's hot because things around us get hot. Water evaporates, heat rises. We know it's cold because our surroundings manifest coldness. Things are cold to the touch. There's a lack of perspiration, and in extreme cases, things freeze. Like all other things found in nature, we being part of nature, we are also subject to the same laws. Just as these environmental factors affect your house, your dog, your food, the leaves, etc., they similarly have an impact on you too. All of us. Isn't that logical? Isn't that common sense? Does one need science to understand the wisdom of that? Interestingly, there was a time when that commonality of thought permeated all cultures. Long ago, people all over the earth tried to live harmoniously with the environmental factors. They protected themselves from the wind, especially at night. They called it draft. They covered themselves properly when going out into the dew. You had to let your body temperature cool down before you were allowed to take a bath after being in the sun. Women were shielded from cold and damp situations after childbirth. Now, modernization has changed our thinking. Today we do anything, anytime, any place, and anyhow because of our so-called enlightened thinking and our failure to see or understand the connectivity between us and the environment. We live in a time where anything goes. Now, let's examine the characteristics of the wind. In the environment, wind is light and it rises. It comes suddenly and stops suddenly. Another characteristic of the wind is it causes things to move and at times violently. Example, hurricanes, storms. We know there is wind because we see the leaves of the trees blowing. We see clothing, pieces of paper, and many other items moving back and forth, at times slowly and at times violently, depending on the rage of the wind. That's the manifestation of the wind affecting things. When wind affects the body, it's called pathogenic wind because it is now causing bodily harm. When it penetrates the outer layer of the body, the skin, it demonstrates the same characteristics as it does in nature. Thus, because it rises and it is light, it affects mostly the upper part of the body. Example, facial paralysis, runny eyes, constant sneezing, headaches, dizziness, sudden loss of speech, and so forth. Because wind comes and goes suddenly, when it becomes pathological, the disorder it causes are sudden and are characterized by movement and shaking. This is evident in such disorders such as strokes, Parkinson's disease, epilepsy, convulsions, spasms, etc. Yes, all of these maladies are considered to be wind-generated disorders. Western medicine may describe them by names without regards to their connectivity to the wind. These maladies all manifest themselves suddenly and are often characterized by shaking or spasms, trembling, fear of wind, etc. Other diseases associated with wind are itching, that is migratory, moving pains, numbness, eczema with itching, and many others. Wind disorders usually result from pathogenic changes in the functions of the liver and kidneys. These wind patterns are always seen in blood deficiency patterns. Blood deficiency here doesn't mean anemia, though it may overlap. It simply means the inability of the blood to moisten, to nourish, to move, and to protect, in which case blood tonics are used together with drugs that expel wind and stop spasms, such as earthworm, scorpion, centipede, and drugs of a similar nature. Please note that within these ancient Eastern and Oriental system of healing, there are concepts and theories used in diagnosing disorders and also for directing the selection of the drug to be used for healing. Medical knowledge is important, whether it's Western or Eastern. The practitioner needs to have guiding principles and clinical experience. No one size fits all. No shaking, no herb, and enthusiastically telling you this is for this and this is for that. We have come to the end of part 1. Wouldn't you all agree? It's interesting. I'm sorry about the technical details. It was really necessary in order to give context and credence to the discussion. After all, don't I always emphasize that these videos are about common sense and practicality? After watching, one can have a better understanding of his own illness and that of his body, as opposed to high-sounding medical jargon, which most times we accept but don't understand. Or to others enthusiastically encouraging you to drink this and drink that with no concept or theory behind their exaltation. These videos also make it easier for us to discern the thinking of our foreparents and to come to an understanding of the reasoning that guided their thinking and actions. This is the end of part 1. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so as yet. Bye for now. See you soon with part 2, Jehovah's willing.